like honestly, credit to Renee Slegers. Like, what a debut season she's having as manager. Like, reaching the
Yeah.
Champions League final is mad. It's mad.
Not even a
But
debut full season. Like it's a full
yeah,
debut
like
season.
yeah, it's just how she sort of rescued this team halfway through where they were drowning under the tyranny of Jonas Eidewall, and like she's just taken it to new heights. It's amazing.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of All About the W. My name is Guy. Ash and I are here to discuss the semi-final second leg of the UEFA Women's Champions League, which happened yesterday. Ash, lovely background you have up there. What's going on?
I'm joining you, Kai, from the middle of nowhere in the wilderness. Basically, my family has been brought here on vacation. I have a feeling that it's part of a plan to put me in the middle of a horror movie because there's wooden cabin, there's the forests. I just feel like this is the end of me. So I was very happy to have watched the Arsenal Lyon game simply because if I'm going to go out, I want to go out on a good game.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, this is giving very like get out vibes.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it does look pretty cozy. I'm glad you're at least in like a good setting. Honestly, I wish I was in a well. Honestly, I don't think I should be left alone with my thoughts right now. Maybe it's
Yeah.
good that I'm among people right now. Anyway, uh, Ash, let's dive right in. Maybe we can, as you know, like a channel that focuses on the WSL. I thought maybe it will be fun to sort of start with something positive as far as the WSL is concerned. So, Arsenal beating Lyon away, I can't quite say I expected it, but seeing how Arsenal came out, I am honestly not surprised it went the way it did. So Lyon versus Arsenal, finishing 4-1 to Arsenal, 5-3 to Arsenal on aggregate. Christian Endler scoring an own goal in the fifth minute. Mariona Caldente scoring in the 41st, sorry, 45 plus 1 minute, like the first minute of the stoppage time after the first half. Russo scoring in the 46th minute. Caitlin Ford scoring in the 63rd minute, and Melchi Domene scoring in the 81st minute. Um, Ash, what did you think about this game? Because we knew it was going to be a tough tie to turn around for Arsenal, but we also were optimistic. We knew it was possible. So, what did you think went wrong for Leon?
Honestly speaking, I feel like, I know the exact minute that Leon actually lost this game in, and it's not even a minute they played in this game. Like, I reckon they lost it mentally in those 15 minutes of the second half in the first leg. Because like when games are played over two legs, they're a little bit like a chess match, as Bompastor likes to point out after the City game. uh, I do, and despite how Bombastor's team did in this chess match, I tend to agree with her in general. Because I mentioned in the previous episode with Yash, the previous review episode with Yash, that I think Arsenal has the best press in the WSL. And you could see that in those 15 minutes, Leon saw how good Arsenal's press was, and from that moment on, they made all their consecutive decisions based on that 15 minutes. So, for example, like they moved De Mornay a little deeper into midfield and played Hegerberg up top, presumably for De Mornay's like press resistant ball carrying ability. So, but like I feel like by doing that, they cancelled out their own strengths. Like it's one thing to play like to your opposition's weakness or to counter your opposition's strengths, but you can't lose out on what defines your strengths either. I think you should always sort of foreground your strength rather than play to the opposition. um,
Yeah.
and like Dumornay was no longer able to be released by passes that Heaps would play through the gaps, which is what uh, has made Lyon so successful as a transition team. And
Yeah.
like I just feel like there were lots of like like this game was not won, like it looks like Arsenal won it really convincingly. It was won like really like stupendously, but actually it was a really close strategic battle, like
Yeah.
there's a lot to discuss in terms of that. uh
Yeah, I was
yeah,
honestly like when the team sheet, like the lineups came out, I was pleasantly surprised that Vanderdonk was not there because, like, for me, I see where Montemuro was coming from in that when Hegerberg did come on, Lyon looked better in that game in the first leg. Like,
yeah,
her hold up play, I
yeah,
feel like her being on the pitch contributed a lot to Lyon scoring that second goal.
yeah,
So I do feel like they look better with Heckerberg there. But I feel like with Dumone, sure, the press resistance, you're right, she can carry the ball, she can dribble, etc. But for me, like where Leon looked really weak, um, was that there was no energy in the midfield. And that's what
yeah,
Vanderdonk brings.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I felt like Lindsay Heaps did okay. Like I don't think she had the worst game, but like between Heaps and Vanderdonk and Egorola, I feel like the person who brings the most energy is DVD. So like
yeah.
that, I felt was a strange decision, and it kind of showed in the way they played as well. But Ash,
So,
what do you think? Yeah, go on.
like, sorry, just to add to that, I think it was a question of who was the most dispensable. Like Egrola, you could, like, as a defensive midfielder, you cannot get rid of her. She's the spine of that team, so there's absolutely no way you're getting rid of her. And Heaps is the creative outlet. She's the person who's passing it in, to the runners, so like it's impossible to get rid of her. So then the most dispensable of that three then becomes Vanderdonk, if you want to like play somebody piche and like behind, and then have Hegerberg up top.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Like, I'm just, sometimes, like, it's a tough decision as a manager.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, when a player performs well, coming off the bench,
yeah,
um, do you give them a start next game, or do
yeah,
you
yeah,
just make them come off the bench again? Because,
yeah, yeah,
do you want to like change a formula that's working for you? And I feel
yeah,
like maybe like watching match, that is what I personally felt, that
yeah,
maybe tactically, of course, there were a lot of things that like Montemuro could have tweaked, but in
yeah,
terms of personnel, I feel like this is maybe it kind of backfired a little bit. But you know
yeah,
what?
yeah.
Let's look at Arsenal now. Uh,
Like honestly, credit to Renee Slegers. Like, what a debut season she's having as manager. Like, reaching the
yeah,
Champions League final is mad. It's mad.
it's not even a
But
debut full season. Like it's a full
yeah,
debut
like,
season.
yeah, it's just how, she sort of rescued this team halfway through where they were drowning under the. Honestly, I was worried about Arsenal's high line in the previous game. Not because I don't think they should have played the high line, but because I felt like Lyon's forwards are so fast, like Chavinga, Diani, Duvonne, they're all frighteningly quick. So, I just felt like maybe she should drop the line a little bit, just maybe two or three steps, so that to account for that. But that just proves that I don't deserve to be manager and she does, because uh you know like fortune favors the brave, as I'm learning. Not only did she continue to play a high line, she also pushed the fullbacks up even higher than the first leg, forcing Diani and Chavinga to fall back and defend against McCabe and Fox in a total role reversal. It felt like McCabe and Fox were the wingers and Diani and Chavinga were like there to defend. It was
Yeah,
strategically brilliant. It was so brilliant. Like, they're just like, Arsenal was just like, we will come to your house and we will take the game to you. It was
yeah.
like, I hate praising Arsenal. You know that. I hate it. But they were so good. Like, and they were good. It wasn't about, like, it looked like they were like convincingly good, but it was actually a strategic thing. If Joe Montemuro had just switched it out, taken Hegerberg off, put Dumorne up top, and thrown balls at her, it could have been a completely different game. It wasn't that far off.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, one thing is, I feel like even the centre backs learned. I feel like Williamson and Catley were exceptional with their positioning.
Yeah,
In general, like in dealing with, I mean, of course, like uh, Ada Hegerberg is a joke of a like a striker. Like
yeah,
the number of things she's won, the number of goals she scored, it's mad. But yeah, I think uh, their strategy changed a little bit, right? Like I feel like they were trying to play a little bit through the middle, not stretching Arsenal's backline as much.
yeah,
Again, I feel like things that worked for you. Do you really want to like try and fix something that ain't broken? Is the question.
yeah,
But again, I feel like there is that. I feel like there's almost like an overthinking, right? This is
yeah,
on this part. You're playing at home. How do we play? Just play the way that suits your players.
yeah, yeah,
You don't have to overthink that. But yeah, I think I wanted to shout out Emily Fox because
yeah,
I feel like to keep Chawinga, who had an exceptional season last season and is having a pretty good season this year as well, to keep her quiet for 180 minutes is not something to be overlooked. I feel. I
yeah.
thought Fox was exceptional, and of course, a big shout out to Kim Little. What a game she had! Like, you know,
My God. Every
yeah,
work rate everywhere, even almost got a like
goal.
uh goal, like that first corner was created from her block shot. So my God,
Yeah,
what a great game.
yeah. But Ash, a quick word on Lyon specifically. Do you feel like what really went wrong because they just collapsed?
Yeah, so like I said, there was the Arsenal's press that forced Lyon to, like several errors from Lyon. But I also think that Lyon just had a really bad day at the office. Like they were terrible passing out from the back. The first goal, I think Gilles passed the ball to Ford, which eventually led to Endler blocking that shot, Kim Little shot. But the thing is, Ford wasn't even pressing at that point. She's just passed the ball to her. Like it was a very strange sort of like I don't know what was happening there, like what was going on in her head. Maybe it was the pressure or whatever. And like that led, of course, to the corner, and having Kelly back for corners was a real boon. Like great delivery, and ball was in the back of the net. Like I like to say, Kelly just needs a warm body in the box. It doesn't even have to be a
Yeah,
teammate. This is the second
yeah.
time it's happened with the own goal. Anyway, so like Gilles had a terrible game in general because she also like conceded to pressure from Ford to let in the fourth goal. So she was having trouble with Ford the whole game. I think
Yeah.
although by then the game was kind of decided. And but she wasn't like the only defender who messed up. Like in a rare mix-up, Renard also conceded to the Arsenal press, leading to that Russo goal. That one was like one strange comedy of errors only. I
Oh
have
my
no
God,
clue
that was so funny.
like
It was
what
just
was
like
happening.
Leon players
They were
falling, and
falling
then
into
boom.
each other, and I'm just like, boom! They were like, suddenly there was an Arsenal goal, and I'm just like, what is
And the
happening?
second half whistle is just blown. You've just come out of like team talk. Like, come on, you guys. Like,
Yeah,
I know like teams are susceptible to conceding like early in the half and late in the half. Like, I know the statistics, right? But this is a Champions
yeah,
League semi-final. As a Chelsea fan,
yeah.
I
I was like,
shouldn't
did they?
talk too much, but I just felt like it
Yeah,
was hilarious. That was probably the funniest goal. And there have been quite a few
yeah.
goals in the semi-finals over
No,
both matches.
like I like to see like a 30-minute clip of them going you know what I mean? Like with the funny music.
Yeah, hilarious, man. Oh. And you know
I think maybe the
the
groundskeeper.
when the
I think
first
maybe the
challenge was
groundskeeper put too much
missed.
water.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, possible. I feel like when they, whoever it was, when they missed the first challenge, like when they didn't get the ball, I felt like it was going to be a goal. And then I saw two more
Yeah.
players running towards, I think it was Ford. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, no, okay. It just kept going. It's just hilarious. Anyway, um, yeah, any other player? I feel like, a lot has been said about Champions League experience, etc., etc. So I know you want to shout out a player who has that Champions League winning experience, who's now currently in the Arsenal team. Ash, talk to me about Mariona.
My God, Caldente, she was just stupendous in this game. And I've been saying for weeks, like weeks, I've been saying that she's tired, she needs to be rested, because she was literally playing 90 minutes every 3 days. Then she played for her country for like 2 games. Then she came back, and then she continued to be played. And I was just like screaming at Dennis Slegers before the first leg that she needs to drop Caldente or bring her off, like bench her, do something, like rest her sometime. But she played the 90 minutes before, 3 days before the first leg. And but like you can see how much rest does for her, because she came out well rested after an
Yeah.
entire week in this game, and she killed it in the midfield. Also, like, she tried a shot. I like the fact that she keeps trying something even when it doesn't work, because she knows she's capable of doing it. I think that also
Yeah.
comes down to like the experience thing that you were talking about. Like, she tried
Hmm.
a shot outside the box. It didn't succeed the first try. And there are a lot of players who'd see one or two times it's not working and they'd give up. But like, eventually she got it right for the goal, like absolute banger, like top bids. It was a great goal. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I think well deserved. I honestly, I think after this performance, I'm really looking forward to an Arsenal versus Barca final. That's going to be
Yeah.
mad.
Honestly, like in terms of like style of play, etc., and maybe we'll talk a little bit more about it towards the end of this video as well. But I feel like Arsenal seem to be the best team that could potentially challenge Barcelona this year. Um, um, Especially because they're pretty good on the ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, Ash, maybe let's move on to the other one.
Yes, the
Um,
other one. The other
the other
one,
one.
also known
The
as
other
Chelsea versus Barcelona, which ended 1-4 to Barcelona. Bonmati scored in the 26th minute, Payor in the 41st minute, Pina in the 43rd minute, Paruello scored in the 90th minute, and then Captain scored in extra time in the 91st minute. Kai, I empathize with you, and I understand that like, it must have been a very painful thing to watch your team lose twice with such a big margin.
yeah.
Uh, how are you feeling now? You had some time to digest.
I don't think I've had enough time to digest it quite a bit, honestly, because I feel like, an 8-2 loss on aggregate for a team that's been unbeaten domestically. I feel like there's a lot of reflection there to be done, not just for Chelsea, but for the whole of the WSL. What the hell?
No,
What have
sorry.
you been
No,
doing?
no, 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 no. Sorry. Not just not WSL problem that Chelsea lost.
No, 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 it's not. It's not. I'm saying, like, how is it that, and I'll make the and I listen, I don't want to start a conversation about Farmers League, this, that is not my intention
Yeah,
at
yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah.
But uh okay, fine, let's not start there, because I feel like that's a larger
Yeah,
conversation to
yeah.
be had
Let's start with the
about.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of reflection to be done, and I leave it at that. But to me, I just feel like the tie was done in the first leg. You know, we mentioned that we wanted to see a good game of football. We wanted to see, like, at least I wanted to see Chelsea at least try and put on a show for the fans. We're at the bridge, so yeah, there was a little bit of hope in me that we might try and do that, but none of that happened. And a big shout out to the fans, because like, they were singing, they kept singing for 90 minutes even though they had nothing to sing about. I know it wasn't very clear on like the DAZN stream, but people were actually very loud. Uh, and and people did celebrate captain's goal in the 91st minute, so it was a really sad occasion, I'll say, like, extremely disappointing, because none of those things happened, the things that we wanted to see. Once again, I felt like it was tactically naive from Sonia Bompastor. uh, she really did not have much of a choice, considering the drubbing in the first leg. We had to go out firing, but still, there were a couple of things I was hoping she would tweak, which she did not. There were a few changes in the lineup. Neve Charles came in at left back, and Sandy Baltimore was pushed up further on the left wing. Nuskin also started in midfield over weaker cap time. And for Barcelona, Pina obviously came into the starting lineup, which because she had a great game in the first leg, right? She came off the bench and scored two goals, got one assist. So like that kind of picks itself, I guess. And I think Romeo opted for Rolfo at left back over Esme Brooks. Again, I feel like he chose experience, and I think that also really paid off. Um, Honestly, like from a personal standpoint, like my opinion is that this should have been Chelsea's starting 11 for the first game. Um, I know like a lot of people will come at me, I'm sure. But I still think Neve Charles is a solid left back. Um, and I know at least two goals were conceded on her side, which obviously again is not a good look for her. But when you're in a position where you've pushed your fullback up so high and uh, you have to go for goals, you are going to leave yourself vulnerable to the kind of goal that Bonmati ended up scoring. Um, but I still feel like this should have been the starting 11. In fact, I would go one step further and say that it should have been a Cuthbert Nuskin double pivot. Like, I can't. We can talk a little bit more about Kira Walsh, but yeah. Uh, I just,
So,
yeah, go on.
I just would like to say that Bonmati goal, like even though there was a strategic reason why it happened. That goal was absolutely stupendous. It was such a great goal. Like she, from her own half, single handedly ran. Charles, I think, tried to dive in and stop her, but like she was way too far to have reached her. And
Yeah,
Bon Marty was off like the wind. It's like the like how I like to sail. It's like when the wind catches your sail and you just know it's going into the goal. It was kind of like that
yeah,
at that point where Charles dived in, and my
yeah,
God, straight. And then sometimes when you have all that momentum, it's very hard to like not sky the ball. Uh,
yeah,
as and the amount of ball control it takes to just stop, take a second, and then just put that ball in the back of the net. My God, what a great goal!
yeah. I,
Sorry.
I I completely agree. And like I feel like when Aitana got the ball, it literally looked like she had the entire football pitch in front of her. Like that's how much
Yeah,
space there was. Like the
yeah,
entire pitch, and with like not a single blue shirt inside.
yeah,
And like it was a brilliant finish, but you can't. That's a two-time Ballon d'Or winner. You can't give her that much space and like
yeah,
expect her not to finish.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean the first goal went in, heads dropped, and again this is another thing that kind of drove me up the wall a little bit, which is there is a very real chance that you are going to concede that goal.
yeah,
Uh, so how the hell is it that like this team did not come mentally prepared for that?
yeah,
Because heads dropped so quickly, Ashwarya, it's not even funny. Like, uh, it's like stuff like this is a bit disappointing, you know.
yeah,
Like I do trust Chelsea as a squad to not do this. Like as a fan, we speak about this a lot, right? Like what do we expect from our team as a fan? Like we want to see a bit of fight. And yeah, it was just gone. And honestly, like Barcelona could have scored two or three more goals easily,
yeah,
more than what they actually scored.
yeah, yeah,
I feel like after the third goal went in, after they came back in for the second half, I genuinely feel like they stopped trying. Like
yeah,
I genuinely feel like they stopped out of pity. Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
uh, it was a mature performance from Barcelona. Like all they needed to do coming into the second leg was to stay tight defensively.
yeah,
Again,
yeah.
they knew they would get their chances, and even if they didn't, if they had stayed tight defensively, they played the 90 like that, they would have still won the tie without a
Yeah,
doubt.
I agree with that because I think that the new skin goal in the starting that didn't go in. There was this one scuff shot.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
reckon if you had scored that, and there was a goal chance before that as well. I forget now.
Baltimore as
Uh,
well. Yeah,
yeah, If those had gone in, I still reckon Barcelona would have beaten you in this game. Like by, in fact,
Absolutely.
the same margin. I think they just stopped trying after a while as well.
Yeah, I the only thing I wonder is like it makes you wonder, right? Like momentum in football
Yeah,
is a wonderful thing, and if those chances had gone in, you never know if Barcelona would have stayed composed enough. You never
yeah,
know.
yeah. That's
I
true.
feel like or maybe Chelsea would have gotten more confidence from it, and they would have,
Yeah,
they would have won more duels, things like that. Like I'm still saying I agree with you. Like I don't think we would have won the tie, but like those two chances, man, the one for Sandy and the other one for Nuskin, like you have to put those away. Like the team with Barcelona's quality, you cannot miss those, and
yeah,
Barcelona are untouchable. Like the quality is too high there, and the only way you can bridge the quality between the two teams, and I'm not saying like player quality. I'm saying in the way they play. I feel like these are
yeah,
two teams that play very differently,
yeah.
and when you have that gulf, you need to get your tactics right, and I think
Yeah.
that's yeah.
Yeah, I think this is what Yash was pointing to in the previous review episode as well, where he was saying that that the WSL teams, they may have talented players, and oftentimes like Chelsea for example will break the transfer market in terms of like the number of talented players they have, but like tactically the WSL teams are naive in comparison. I mean, I'm just echoing what Yash says. And so what did you make of the way, like, tactically, that Sonia set up?
I think the most disappointing thing for me is that she did not change much. I mean,
Yeah,
that's where I kind of credit Rene Slegers, right? Like there were
yeah,
specific changes, and of course, it paid off. Sonia also, like, there were a few things that she did change. Like, for example, there were the obvious personnel change, which I don't want to get into too much. The other thing that she did really well, um, I mean, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but basically, Sandy Baltimore coming into that left wing position uh, meant that Sonia wanted her to play a little bit like LJ. Again, I don't know
yeah,
what that said about her tactics. Like Sandy Baltimore was drifting inside, trying to create that overload in that midfield. Uh,
yeah,
Skin was like dropping further left to provide some kind of cover for Neve Charles, especially for the space that Sandy was vacating, right? So stuff like that did happen, but apart from that, like in terms of the larger approach to the game, um, I don't think that naivety went away at all.
yeah,
Um, I don't know if she just threw the game and was trying some stuff out. I don't know what the logic is, but when you have the luxury of having that second leg at home, uh,
yeah,
you always try and prioritize putting on a show in front of your fans. There's no doubt about it. Uh, but yeah, I mean, um, bottom line is, I don't think Sonia set the team up to succeed over two legs,
yeah,
going toe to toe with Barcelona. It's just not an option. Like this is a squad, and I know there's been a lot of overhaul in the squad, but the
yeah,
spine of it, um, like is it's a team that's played counter-attacking football in the league. It still plays
yeah,
counter-attacking football in the league against the likes of more possession-based teams like Arsenal and Man City.
yeah,
Now, chasing the ball against Barcelona, like you can try and do that against maybe Arsenal or City, but
yeah.
against Barcelona, you're just chasing shadows.
I'll give you
Like,
a counter. I'll give you a counter argument. Say you were playing these tactics, but you had City's forwards. If you had Bunny Shaw, Lauren Hemp, and I don't know, put anyone else, put Fujino, anyone else, right? Say you had City's forwards, you possibly a lot of those goal scoring opportunities, they could have made goals out of nothing. Like even if you didn't have the ball, for like, because obviously like Barcelona's midfield is like untouchable, right? Like you mentioned, when you have the ball, you have to make the most out of it. I feel like, like, the reason you're unbeaten in the league is I mean, you had Lauren James creating something out of nothing. Like when you have a forward that creates something out of nothing, when you have three forwards that do that, like with City, uh, that just transforms the game. If you had Lyon's forwards or City's forwards playing with those same tactics in the same midfield and back line, that could have been very different. Like in the starting of the season, you had that somewhat. JRK was firing on all cylinders. Myra was scoring regularly. Guru Wrighton was scoring regularly. That's why you went on to this flying start in the WSL, right? Which has put Chelsea in the position you're in right now. Somewhere along the way, like the goals just dried up. JRK's form just went down like one Grand Canyon. And then it
Yeah.
was just down. Guru Wrighton got injured in the middle. It was just like downhill from there, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
I agree and disagree. I
yeah,
think the issue is, sure, if we have Man City's or forwards that are in form, like the same
yeah,
forwards if they were in form, right?
yeah,
I honestly don't think we created enough. The
yeah,
problem for me is not, it's like, in the second leg I kind of expected Chelsea to play the way Arsenal were playing. I don't know if you
yeah,
noticed this, but Arsenal were playing with freedom. Like
yeah,
they were like, you know, nobody expects us to win this. Let's
yeah,
just go
yeah,
out and play our football.
yeah,
And
yeah,
the crispness with which they were passing, they were moving the ball so quickly. And Chelsea is not a team. Chelsea does not have players to do that, right?
yeah,
We are not a team that's going to move the ball super quickly.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
the issue is that we were just rattled. Like, and I didn't
yeah,
expect us to be rattled because the game was
yeah,
lost. What were you rattled about? you know?
yeah, yeah,
So for
yeah,
me, the issue is that the kind of football Sonia Bompastor is trying to play does not fit the kind of player she has. And I'm talking about this in terms of technical ability. I'm not talking about this. Maybe form can cover up for some of that technical ability, like you're saying,
yeah,
but it's still not good enough.
yeah, yeah,
That is
yeah.
my position
I
on
mean,
this. I feel like,
speaking
yeah,
speaking of players who do have that technical ability and who do uh, are expected to, help make those creation like that, to create something from the midfield, we have to speak about Walsh. What is the problem with Walsh?
I mean, in this game, like Aitana was just like stuck to her like a leech, until she kind of peeled away and scored that goal.
Yeah,
um, but uh, yeah, I mean, it's, this is a defensive midfielder, right? She had the least number of touches, like a whopping 37 touches in 90 minutes. And she had 38 touches in the previous game. And
yeah,
I think in the second leg, she had the least amount of touches of any outfield player. Now, I don't know if you remember Yash saying this,
yeah,
but he said, if you're playing Kira Walsh needs to be the player with the most number of touches in your team. Like
yeah.
he categorically said that in the previous. I don't know if he said that to me over text or on the episode, but he did
No,
say
he
that.
did say it. He said it on
Yeah,
the episode.
yeah. So, um, like that is the issue. Now, Kira Walsh getting marked out of games is not new. Like every manager who has managed Kira Walsh has experienced it, except for maybe like a Barcelona manager because that midfield of Patry, Kira Walsh, and Bonmati. Who do you mark? Who do you mark
Yeah,
out of the game? You
fair
take your
enough.
pick. But England has experienced this. Man City has experienced this to some extent when Walsh was playing there. Uh, like there was no problem solving around that. What Barcelona basically did was they let Germa have the ball, and they were like, okay, you can play with the ball, like make any pass that you want to make, let's see where it goes. uh, Now it didn't go anywhere because this team was just not coached enough well on the ball, and
Yeah,
you can see that. And that combined with poor form, and when I say form, I'm talking about like terrible first touches. Like I've not seen a good first touch from Myra Ramirez in over these two legs. It's
yeah,
almost painful to watch. And if you're somebody who's trying to hold up the ball and your first touch is bad, if you're not able to flick the ball over to somebody who's running in behind, like these, like
yeah,
you're not getting your basics right. and that is a sign of a team that is not being coached very well.
Yeah.
um, and there is a mental aspect to it somewhere as well. Now, I mean, this might be a bit harsh, and I genuinely do, like, part of it is Kira Walsh's fault, part of it is Sonia Bompastor's fault. But
Yeah.
for the sake of this player that we've bought and for the sake of the team, I really want Bompastor to figure out what to do with Walsh before she
Yeah.
throws her onto the pitch. Like a little bit
Yeah.
of game plan. Because right
Yeah.
now, what, like, the girl recorded like a 4.8 and a 4.9 score on like football.
Yeah.
Like that is in the red zone for both the legs. And I can only imagine how shattered her confidence is. Like I'm sure she's not
Yeah.
checking her football rating, but she
Yeah. Yeah.
knows
But
she had a
yeah.
terrible game, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want like a player of that quality to just have a massive dent on her confidence.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
honestly would like to see just like Nuskin and Cuthbert in the double pivot, man. I miss seeing that. Good old days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where and honestly, Nuskin had a great game. I
Yeah.
thought she
Yeah.
was like the only bright spark. If she had just put that, one chance away, and I never, you know, bet in favor of Nuskin in front of goal. I don't
Yeah.
think she
Yeah.
has a
Yeah.
shot on her. But yeah, I actually thought she was one of the best players on the pitch. Honestly, like simple things like when I say we were rattled, we couldn't control the ball. Nobody could. And there was CEO doing like Cruyff turns by the touchline and things like that. She was so calm on the ball. And that's really nice, That was really nice to see. Everybody
Yeah.
else was so like Germa was rattled. Everybody was rattled. It
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, uh, that's about it. But Ash, like I was just wondering what you're thinking. I'm sure we'll do like a proper
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
final preview episode, but what are your initial thoughts about this final?
About So, I'm in two minds about this final because, Arsenal are not the best. I've mentioned this before. I don't think Arsenal are the best off the ball. And Barcelona are not going to give away the ball, like they're going
Yeah.
to have more possession. So,
Mm,
Arsenal are going to have to think, like, do they have, they need a Damaris Egarola. Like they need someone of that caliber to get the ball off of Barca,
mm,
because once Arsenal have the ball, I'm pretty confident, like even against this Barca backline, that because we know they're susceptible to conceding a goal or two. Like they haven't kept a clean sheet despite the domination of against Chelsea, for example. So, like I'm not there. It's not like you cannot score against them; that it's an impossible task. And I feel like if you put Russo, Kelly, and like Ford, maybe whoever up to that, I reckon they can get a goal or two past Barcelona. My issue is how will they get the ball from Barcelona? You know, that's what I because if you know, the more Barcelona have the ball, the more likely they are to score more goals. So
yeah.
I don't see any way that they beat that. Maybe if Kim Little has a really good game, uh, and manages to throw in a few tackles here and there, and like make it
Mm.
happen. Might be possible. McCabe has to have a really good game. Um, uh, there are a few players in there who can win the ball. Those players have to have
I
really
mean,
good games.
every single Arsenal player needs at least like an 8 out of 10 performance, and most of them need to have
Yeah,
like a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10
yeah,
performance.
yeah,
Like that's the
yeah,
only like you need to be like you need to execute your plan to perfection against Barcelona.
yeah,
There's no other way. But you know what? Honestly, initially I would have said I know I joked and said I trust Arsenal to scam a win.
yeah,
But initially I didn't think much of it. I didn't feel like they stood a chance against Barcelona. But this Lyon game, I feel like it's changed my opinion on that because they did
yeah,
play a lot more direct in this game, um, which we don't see Arsenal do enough. I feel like it's something like a lot of players. It's you know you can use it to their advantage if you're playing a little more direct. And I feel like they don't do it enough. I I feel like they have a really good chance because it's the little things, right? So if you know that you're not going to have the ball, what are you going to do when you
It's
do
the
get the
little
ball?
things.
It's the little things, yeah. So, like, again, being coached well, like, what do you do when you get the ball?
Yeah,
And I trust Arsenal. Like, I mean, the only comparison I have for now is Chelsea, and I trust Arsenal to move the ball faster and better than Chelsea can, for example.
yeah,
Um, but
yeah,
of course, like Barcelona is Barcelona. I'm sure they'll like concede a couple of goals for sure. But it's also a question of how do
yeah,
you stop them. But I
yeah,
genuinely feel like it's going to be a very, very exciting final. And I wouldn't be too surprised if
yeah,
Arsenal actually, again, I feel like it really depends on their mindset. If they really let it get to their head that, oh my
yeah,
God, we have a real chance at winning the final, um, I feel like they'll
yeah,
choke. I feel like they need, it's what
yeah,
happened at the
yeah. That
Emirates. Right? I feel like they felt that they need to go back to Lyon with something, and that pressure just I
yeah,
feel like took over them. So if they don't go in with that mindset, and if they play with a bit of freedom like they did, I feel like they have a real
yeah.
chance.
Yeah, I think it might, the lack of experience they have against Barcelona might actually work in their favor to some extent. Like
Definitely.
it's Rene Segar's first season. She's a young manager. They have nothing to lose. They find themselves in a final they didn't expect to be in. So
Yeah,
like everyone and their mother wanted a Barcelona versus Lyon final, right? Like nobody, like everyone had counted out Arsenal completely. So the idea that Arsenal would now find themselves in a final with a new manager who's not even managed a full season with any team yet.
yeah,
I think they can sort of, I hope that they go into it with like that, like giant killer sort of mentality where they're just like, oh,
yeah,
we have nothing to lose, let's just play our natural game. If we lose, everyone expects us to lose anyway, and if we win,
yeah,
we're the champions of Europe or whatever crap.
yeah. It's champions of Europe. Yeah. Oh God, I cannot. I did say in the previous episode that if this ends up happening, I'm all Arsenal, but I cannot. I cannot
Yeah,
support
yeah,
Arsenal. No,
yeah.
it's not
Same here.
possible.
I'm kind of also in that boat where I'm just like, Arsenal played really well, and I'm very excited for them. But I kind of don't like Barcelona winning again is not a surprise. So you're just like, okay, fine, Barcelona wins,
Sure.
yay, whatever, sure, take another trophy for like your
Yeah,
gazillionth trophy. Uh, but like with Arsenal winning, they will lord it over you for the rest of the year, and I feel like
yeah.
it's just not worth it. Like, I hope Barcelona just goes and kicks their ass and just that's the end of it.
Yeah, we are all haters at the end of the day. Anyway, I think Ash, unless you have something last thoughts to add, yeah, yes, no,
No, I'm all right. I feel
yeah.
like my voice is
The
also going.
last, the last thought is that we don't want Arsenal to win. Anyway, um, but obviously we'll be back with um, a preview episode for the Champions League, which is like a month away, so there is a lot of time. Um, and we'll be back later in the week with a WSL preview for the coming Sunday, like weekend fixtures. It's coming up at the end of this week. So we'll catch you then. Bye bye.